Hi guys, coming to you today from my home office, and I want to talk a little bit about job hopping or taking a new job offer. Is it worth it? And what are some of the criteria you should consider? And let's face it, if you're good at sales, you've probably had a headhunter, a recruiting agency reach out to you. Maybe even another company has tried to hire you. It could be you even have an offer on the table, a formal offer, and you're trying to decide between your existing company or this new opportunity. How do you make that decision? Here's a couple thoughts for you. You should absolutely consider that new opportunity if two or three things are present. First off, if it's a big promotion, if it's a vice president type of promotion, or it's an opportunity to become an owner or join the ownership group of a company, yeah, that's something you should do. Take that brass ring if it's offered to you. Also, you've got to be a little bit careful there about the type of company. I mean, if you're going from a great job and it's a small startup of 12 people and yeah, they're offering you the vice president role, I'd be a little hesitant there. So keep that in mind. But generally, if you have the opportunity to have a significant promotion, of course, take that opportunity as long as you understand the role. Also, are you getting a huge bump in compensation? Huge bump, what does that mean? That means probably 25% or more increase to your existing compensation. Now, in the world of sales, you're gonna have to evaluate your salary, your commissions, and any bonus structure you have, and pay real close attention to the on-target earnings. And you've got to verify here that what they're presenting you is reality. I would see if you can verify, what other sales associates have made. Do they meet their quota? But if it's an opportunity where you are literally making 25% or more, yeah, you should probably take that job opportunity. The last thing is, are you in a dead-end job? What do I mean by that? Well, you should absolutely take that new opportunity if you are in some sort of dead-end job. Maybe it's your company is in an industry and it's going downhill and it has been for years. Take the new opportunity. Maybe there's nepotism at your company and you just can't get ahead. There's no upward mobility and you have a bad territory and there's just no getting around that. Of course, in that case, the new opportunity might make most sense. I will tell you though, you got to be very, very careful with a new opportunity because it's going to seem more sexy than your incumbent job. I think you want to be very careful and give any benefit of the doubt to your incumbent job. There are some real advantages to sticking around where you're at and trying to make it work and trying to become the very best you can be doing what you do now. What do I mean by that? Well, let me give you some criteria here and just some reality. First of all, there's the ramp up period. Switching jobs is hard. There is a ramp up period. And you might be thinking, ramp up period, a few weeks. No, I think the ramp up period for a lot of sales jobs is oftentimes many months, sometimes even years to get fully up to speed. Well, why? Well, first of all, you've got the typical ramp up period stuff. You go to a new company, the first few days are paperwork, you're learning names, you're learning leadership, you're learning the basic stuff. Now you can learn a lot of that in a matter of days or weeks. But beyond that, you have the technology. Chances are you're learning a new product, a new technology, and you've got to learn the details and complexities of that. That can take some time. You might have to spend some time with your sales engineers. You might have to spend some time with your product team, really learning the ins and outs. I'll tell you, in my career, I've had to learn some pretty complex technologies, some products, and learning the details of this and the advantages and comparing it to the competition, that takes a considerable amount of time, oftentimes months or longer to learn. In fact, in some ways, I'm still learning to this day some of the technology that I sell. So you've got to consider that. Last of all, and this is usually not thought about, but it's your market. Your market might be pretty complex. I've seen some very, very complex marketplaces out there where you have different buyers that have different needs, that have different shop talk. You've literally got to learn a different language. And if you're gonna have credibility, you've got to learn your industry and learn it well. learn the players, learn the influencers, learn the motivating factors, learn the buying cycles. This takes a lot of time, and not just weeks or months. Sometimes it even takes really years. You might be able to learn a lot of it early on, but to get from 80% to 100%, that could take you a long time to really learn. So your efficiency, year one and year two at that new job as you're ramping up, is gonna be significantly different than if you're staying at the same job and you're on year 6, year 7, year 8. The other thing is you have a longevity advantage in sales. Now, what do I mean by that? A longevity advantage is really significant. After you've been at a company 4, 5, 6 years, you really start to have some momentum build. You've learned your sales territory, you've learned some of the players, you go to conferences, you see the same names over and over again, you meet the same people, you shake the same hands, you might make friends with a lot of different people in your industry. You become a known factor, a known quantity, and you're on the radar. Sooner or later, and a lot of times it takes 4, 5, 6 years, but you kind of become seen as an expert in your field. You might even get asked to speak at a different conference or event. You have a lot of gravitas. What does this mean? It means referral business starts to come your way. It means that rising tide slowly starts to lift, and you can bank on new and repeat and referral business coming to you much more easily if you're 5, 6, 7 years deep in your current job as opposed to year 1 and year 2. That makes a huge impact. And I will tell you that trajectory, I feel that, in my career, when I've been someplace 5 or 6 years, I'm twice as effective as I am on year 1. And you know what? That money follows suit. That money, that trajectory of money, your base and your income and your commissions, your bonuses, that follows suit. That trajectory goes up as well. So you've got to consider that. You're restarting from a ground level, and it's going to take a long time to build up that longevity and to get that incoming momentum. Now, I will tell you, final story here. I had a colleague of mine over a decade ago. We had almost the exact same role, and he went on his way, and he's since had 4 or 5 different sales jobs. And I'll tell you, early on, I was kind of jealous of one. He got a real significant bump in pay, a great territory, great commission, whereas I kind of stayed the same place for the last decade. But I wouldn't trade my career for his on any level. He's continued to job hop and jump from opportunity to opportunity. And guess what? He's nowhere near where he should be, in my opinion, because he has to start over every 2 or 3 years. Yeah, the money's been good at times, but he doesn't have any of that momentum. I've stuck around, and guess what? After about 5 years, I was offered an opportunity to buy into a company. I'm now an owner. That's a huge game changer. So you have different opportunities that present themselves after you've been at a place for a few years. So consider that as you're evaluating different opportunities. If you don't have any upward trajectory, I get it. But in some cases, those opportunities present themselves if you're seen as a reliable expert in your field. So evaluate these. Best of luck choosing the right career option here. But try to think of these things a few stoplights out, because oftentimes these are big choices. And I give the benefit of the doubt to your incumbent role most of the time. I hope this helps.